It's Christmas time and time for a carol.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, bitches.
Oh, thank heaven, it's day number 7, which means that we have the 7th bourbon from the Advent Calendar from Drinks by the Dram today. So let's see what it's going to be without any further ado. Finally got the trick to this down. There we go. Elijah Craig, small batch. So, Elijah Craig's small batch actually won the #1 bourbon from Jim Murray's Bourbon Bible last year, I believe. And I actually have a bottle in my collection. I was going to review it for the Bros of Bourbon. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I will definitely be reviewing it long form for this series, Bourbon Bender. But in the meantime, I get to have a little bit of a taste and see what it's all about. So, let's go. I can tell right off the bat it's not going to be super hot. It's very light on the nose. I kind of want to know whose job it was to fill up these bottles. And seeing as the company that produces these are in England, if they actually bought casks or barrels full of bourbon and filled each individual bottle off of that, or if they bought a bunch of bottles and then re-siphoned them into these. That's an interesting thought. Maybe I'll email them and find out. Or I could just die and never know. Oh yeah, so that's got a little bit of a burn, but not very aggressive. It's got a good kind of herbal finish on it. Nice and malty, really coats your tongue. Definitely like a good sipping bourbon. I can see, reading a Christmas Carol or something. Or, just enjoying this by the fire. It's a very good sipping bourbon for sure. So Elijah Craig is one of the more esteemed bourbons from the Heaven Hill distillery. Best known for their self-titled Heaven Hill bourbon. Recently, in Bourbon News anyway, has been selling their single barrel Heaven Hill self-titled bourbon in the lower states. And they actually just discontinued the sale of it, which is a real bummer to a lot of bourbon aficionados because it was one of the more reasonably priced single barrel bourbons out there at about, less than $20 a bottle, basically. So everybody was real bummed about that. But, they're still putting out really good products, Elijah Craig being no exception. And this is one of those bourbon varieties that I really like to recommend to people who are trying to get into like a higher end bourbon but don't really want to break their bank account, because it's about the same price as a Maker's Mark for a typical Elijah Craig, but I think it's like a way higher quality. So if you guys are looking for a good, nice bourbon to like give to somebody or to enjoy on your own, and you don't want to spend $60 or more, look at Elijah Craig. Even this small batch really wasn't that expensive, so definitely put it on your list and consider it. Well, that's day 7 down. Delighted with a nice surprise from Elijah Craig. Really enjoying the variety of bourbon that's coming out of this box, so I'm looking forward to each day forthcoming and what kind of bourbons I'll be treated to. So far, it's been about 50-50 with bourbons that I've tasted before and ones that I haven't. This particular bourbon here being the case that I own it, but I have not tasted it because I was saving it for my first impressions to do a video. So, call me crazy, but yes, I have sealed bottles of bourbon in my collection. A couple of these, for instance. So join me next time for another episode of Bourbon Bender. It's going to be day 8 tomorrow, and I'm going to check out what's next in line from the Drinks by the Dram Bourbon Advent Calendar. Cheers. Have a good night.